Alright guys, let's talk about grass carp. Generally, most of your grass carp are going to be in stagnant or slowly moving water. These are your creeks, your inlets, ponds, lakes, stuff like that. You'll probably see them around the surface of the water, and they'll be sucking away at whatever food is on top of the water. That can be buds, algae, pollen, basically any type of plant food that's on the surface of the water, grass carp will eat. This makes it really easy to find grass carp because if they are feeding at the top of the water, you'll probably see their lips actually come out of the water. I have a really good video of that. Now sometimes if they aren't quite that confident that they're going to let their lips pop out of the water, you'll still see ripples come out from their mouth moving, or you'll see what I call bobs, which are basically just another name for ripples. He's stuck real good. Other times they'll suck on reeds or sticks or floating debris, and those too will kick off ripples. Basically, if you see ripples, it's probably some type of carp.
That's a hit. Nice. This is a nice fish.
I found that grass carp like to stick around cover, but they don't require it. So I'll probably see close to 60 to 70% of my grass carp in or by trees or bushes or cover. And then the other 30 or 40% are probably within 15 feet of cover. What they really like is places with food, where there's algae or some type of plant life on top of the water that they can eat. Now, because grass carp actively seek out their food, they're going to be moving around a lot. I'll almost see grass carp do like laps around an area. So if you're in a boat, I wouldn't suggest trying to chase after a grass carp. If you're patient, just wait and it'll probably come back, or another one will come into that area. And if you're bow fishing from land, by all means, just stand your ground and wait for that grass carp or another grass carp to pop into that area. Now, I talk a lot about grass carp feeding at the surface. That's a lot of what I see. The places where I bow fish are pretty muddy, pretty murky, and they have a lot of vegetation on top of the water. So that's normally where they are. But if you have a chance to bow fish on like a crystal clear creek or river, you'll probably see them towards the bottom if they're feeding on the rocks or something like that. So keep that in mind. Where grass carp are depends on where the food is. So if there's food on top of the water, you bet those grass carp are going to be up top. If there's food a foot or two down into the water, that's probably where the grass carp will be. And the last thing I'll talk about are what I call dust clouds. Basically, whenever grass carp are spawning or sometimes feeding, they'll kick up a lot of dirt as they're just swimming along, and they'll stay in the same spot. And on a river, you'll see this streak of mud flowing down the river. And to find the carp, you just follow that streak up the river until you find clear water, and the carp is probably somewhere around there. Now, dust clouds aren't specific to carp, it can be anything. But if it's a big fat dust cloud and you see a big black tail waving in the water, it's probably a carp. So the main points here, grass carp are going to be in pretty slowly moving water or stagnant water, and they'll be wherever the food is. If you can see the food on the top of that water, look around for like ripples or bobs, and you'll probably be able to spot the grass carp that way. If you don't see any food on the top of your water, look a little bit deeper. Hopefully you're fishing in some clear water where you could see them below the surface. And if that's not the case, you might as well find a different spot. So that's all I got. If you have any tips or tricks on how you find grass carp, feel free to drop them in the comments. I know I'd love to see them, and I'm sure anyone who clicked on this video would also love to hear about them. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and here's another carp shot.
That sounded like a headshot. Holy sh... Mother... Oh, yeah. Mother... Man! This thing is freaking powerful. Oh, that is convenient, actually.